it is Nikki coming at you from my bedroom, which is normally where I come at you in these AuthorTube videos. The only difference is, for the past few days, I've been sort of stuck here. So I did come down with COVID after 2 years of doing my due diligence and trying to be as cautious as possible. I guess sometimes you just can't avoid it. I was just really thankful that I got a very mild case, and my heart goes out to just anybody who has been touched by this virus in any way. I do not have to stay in my room anymore, but I thought it would be fun to do a little vlog on the writing progress that I was able to make while I was in here and didn't have anywhere else to go. I had all the essentials for productive writing sessions. I love my candles, y'all know this about me. Got my tray of homemades with different fragrances depending on my mood. Linen scented, crackling, character themed. I had candles covered. Tried to create an inspiring atmosphere as much as possible. I could blast music when I needed it, ambient soundtracks for writing, instrumental worship for reading my Bible and praying, and when I needed a brain break, show tunes. Admittedly, it was significantly harder to belt show tunes than it would be normally. Also, I feel the need to show off my standing desk, which I made great use of. It is a stool on top of a chair, which brings my computer to like the perfect height for me to stand and work when I have to do things on my computer for hours and hours and hours and want to feel like less of a chair potato. The stool also serves a dual purpose because I keep it under my desk 24/7 to use either as my standing desk or to make this super precarious tripod rig thing that I MacGyver every time I have to film a video. Now though, what was I able to accomplish writing and reading-wise while I was in my room with nowhere else to go? I reread Marissa Meyer's Heartless, which I have been wanting to do for a while. I think I mentioned it in my Be Re-Read video, which I will put somewhere over here. Once again, even reading it for the third time, it got me right in the feels, and I could just be blown away by Marissa Meyer's storytelling prowess, and also her dialogue. That was one thing that I appreciated about this book, maybe more than I ever had. Witty dialogue. Like, wit is just not something that I'm good at in dialogue. Characters that are able to just throw witty comments back and forth no problem, that would take me so long and be such a struggle. That's something that I'd really like to practice in the future. I also read and provided some feedback for a story that a friend of mine has been writing, which is exciting because I've had to wait months in between the previous draft and this one. I sent out my newsletter with a little encouragement and a writing update and the announcement of the winner for my newsletter winter giveaway. Congratulations again to the winner. And if you would like to be in on that and the opportunities that are hopefully coming down the pipeline for my newsletter, folks, feel free to hop over to nikkiflorica.com and subscribe there. It would mean so much to me. It is just a little hello from me every couple months, but hopefully, Lord willing, there might be some beta reading opportunities coming this year, and I want to give first dibs to my newsletter people. So if you want in on that, that is the place to be. Anywho, story-wise, part 3 of Operation Fantasy Revamp is coming along. I don't want to say that I'm almost done, because I always underestimate how long it takes me to tell stories. I mean, just the other day, I told my brothers, oh my goodness guys, I'm so excited. I finally reached this part that I've been waiting for forever. And then I probably wrote like another 15 pages before I actually started writing that scene. So I always underestimate how long it takes me to get from point A to point B, especially in this particular story, because it's just getting more and more complicated the more I write, which brings me to a big point. I'm definitely plantsing my way through this story. Typically, I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants writer. I like to know where the story's going, and I did put lots of prep time into this particular story. But at the same time, I'm not a super patient person. So while I did do prep, I was also really excited to just start writing, and I'm realizing now that I could have done more prep. I'll be writing and then all of a sudden be struck by a light bulb that just changes a whole bunch of things, and I will have to then incorporate that change into what I've already written. It's happened multiple times, and so I'm trying to keep a list of all those things that I'm changing or want to change so that I can go back and fix them later. As much as it's like a little bit daunting and overwhelming to see this growing list of things that I'm going to have to fix in order to make the story work, it's exciting to see all these ideas flying around and to see them coming together into something that I never would have anticipated. I spent hours yesterday just working on one character's backstory, and in doing that, suddenly pieces came together and it unlocked this whole new subplot, potential backstory thing. And yes, that will require me to make a lot of edits and incorporate some new stuff in order to make it seamless, but so worth it. And I do also want to acknowledge that in that epic plot storming session, I finished another story notebook and now I can move on to a new one. I think that was another one of my goals for either the year or this winter. I don't know, watch this video and tell me if it's in there. One of my favorite things is when you start a story and you have this great idea that you love and you just want to incorporate, but you end up having to scrap it because it just doesn't work. And then, down the road, God takes your story in an unexpected direction, and suddenly that idea is there, and it does work. That, to me, is how you know that an idea was meant to be. I mentioned in my last video that I finally reached a big reveal moment in my story. I can't say the big reveal because there's just a multiplying number of big reveals that are coming down the pipeline in this story, so this was one of them. I'm not sure that I absolutely love it, but it's definitely good enough to go on with, which is what I was going for. Oh, also, this happened. So I was writing away and then kind of thought, you know what, I've spent a lot of time in this setting with these characters. Let's hop over here and see what has been going on in this setting with these characters. That's when I realized, oh my goodness, it's almost day 13. Things are supposed to be going down over here and I haven't been setting that up at all. I haven't built any tension. Okay, backtrack. I think I mentioned in this video, my practical tips video, which I had a lot of fun making, by the way. I would highly suggest you go see it and tell me what you think, but I digress. Early in the story, I made two characters come together and agree that in 13 days, something big is going to happen. I temporarily lost track of the 13 days as I went on with the story and took it in a different direction, but recently I did go back and count all the days, so I was keeping track. I knew that the 13th day was coming up fast, but for some reason I didn't really think about the tension building that needed to be happening over here, even while the story was moving on in a different direction. So then suddenly it was day 13 and things are supposed to be happening over here, but I haven't set them up. And so now I'm kind of frantically trying to build that tension and to make it clear that tension has been building this whole time, even if we weren't there to see it. In my defense though, it's getting way more complicated than I thought it would be. I mean, for some of these things, I'm thinking like 9 books in advance. And yes, I'm a plotter, but I'm not that much of a plotter. I think the double crossing and betrayal element is definitely a factor in what is making this so hard for me to keep track of as a writer. Because in past drafts of this story, yes, I had villains, I had characters that you couldn't trust, but if someone was bad, you knew they were bad. I wasn't expecting my story to take this direction where I suddenly have all these characters who have like secret agendas and are undermining each other all the time. It's just making it really, really hard for me to keep track of where everyone's at and what they want. Like when I give this character this particular line, is he saying that because that's what he wants and that's what he's thinking? Or is it just because that's what he wants people to think he wants? The other day, I was writing a false rumor into the story, a rumor that one of my characters was going to double-cross the others. But then I kind of got thinking about it, and it was like, wait a minute, is it a false rumor? Is he going to betray them? And I changed my answer, which changes a lot of things. Honestly, it will be a miracle if I get through this draft without having like a massive plot wormhole in the middle of the story that I completely missed. But on a brighter note, I am happy overall with the way that things are going. I mean, I've got intrigue, I've got action, I've got lots of interesting betrayals happening. And soon, I'm gearing up towards this in the story, I will have a dash of romance as well, but just a dash. I am a total romantic at heart, but I learned long ago that when it comes to my story and these particular characters, less is more. Shout out to my first rough draft of this story and all those corny, cheesy, cringy romance lines that I tried to write. That was another thing that I was able to do in the past few days. I opened up that original draft again just to take a peek, and I was actually surprised to find that there were little plot lines or little perils that have made it into the final all the way from back at that original draft. That I think is a reminder that every part of the story process is important. Even if you write a draft that you absolutely hate, you can pretty much always glean something valuable from it. There might be something that survives from that to your final polished draft. Or you might owe a huge part of your polished scenes to all the time you spent doing it wrong in those first few drafts and figuring out how not to write this scene. It's all valuable, so be patient and enjoy the process. And honestly, the same goes for life. With that, I will close this little vlog. Once again, I am just so thankful to be feeling better and so thankful to just have so much to be thankful for. It was a really, really productive week for writing, and I'm hoping to keep that momentum going into the end of the semester. Till then, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like and subscribe and share any thoughts you might have. And as always, do not forget to spend some time in the clouds today.